right here on Tide 100.9, the home of Alabama sports, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts, where we'll now be joined by a former teammate of mine, brother of mine, O.J. Howard. O.J., what's going on, man? How you been?
What's up, my man? I've been doing good, bro.
Good stuff, man. I appreciate you joining. I know you're busy. I know you're probably training, getting things back. I think you most recently with the Raiders. Right now, you're still looking for next spot, which I'm sure is coming very soon. But glad you're doing well. And I just want to kick things off. We'll rewind. Like always, anytime I have people on, we've had Rashawn on, Anthony on. So I always like going back and to the high school days. And so we'll start there. You were a top tight end in the country, a 5-star recruit. Everybody's recruiting you. Could have picked any school you wanted to, but you chose Alabama. What went into that decision?
I would say for me, man, when I would take my visit, unofficials, and the camaraderie with the players at the time, they already made me feel like I was a part of the team. You know what I mean? Like the classes before me, going to the games, just getting the vibes with the fans and the energy. The Tide, we were like just came off a national championship the year before in 12, and then a couple in 2009 and 11. So it was just like, I want to be a part of this. The winning culture, the working hard, everybody seemed real down to earth. So when my decision came to it, it was kind of like easy for me. I'm like, that's what I want to be a part of. So that's really what went into it for me, man, because I knew every year we had a chance to compete for the national title. And like I said, the brotherhood was just always stood out since my recruiting days.
OJ, this is Corey Christian's dad. Again, thanks for joining us here on the program. And listen, man, I'm going to tell you, you've been always one of my favorite dudes, right? I probably didn't talk to you that much, but the fact that they decided to utilize you the way I felt like they should have been doing your entire career, that national championship game, I believe it was against Clemson or I think it was out in Arizona.
Games.
And
both national championships.
I mean, you were just amazing. It was like, why haven't we been doing this all year? So first of all, I want to say thank you, Ben, that I live in South Carolina, that I was able to smile at my wife and at everybody, other Clemson fan, to tell them, have a good day. Appreciate that. But talk about that, what that felt like to have those types of moments in a big game, the biggest game that up to that point that you have played in, and have that type of success.
Yeah, man. So I appreciate that. But yeah, it was awesome. Like, that was like one of those things where, the work had been put in for so long. Everybody, we just grind so hard and we work so hard for those moments, right? And and to see that finally get fulfilled in the biggest stage of my career at the time was awesome. Because like I said, I put in so much work, and we all did. But those days where maybe get 4 to 5 catches, and 40 yards, 50 yards, and then just to come out and get 5 for 208 yards, that was insane, But I was just, that moment was so big, and it was awesome to be a part of it. And I was really relieved, because I said all the work that I finally put in all these years is finally coming to the light, that everyone can see what I really could do when given the right opportunity. And it was a great game plan. And like I said, it was a couple plays where the guys were kind of double coverage on Kenyon Drake and left me wide open. So it was a great opportunity, man. But that was definitely one of the biggest moments for me, to say all the work that we put in, all the time, blood, sweat, and tears finally come to light. And it was awesome feeling.
We're joined by O.J. Howard, Alabama legend, national champion, Super Bowl champion. So speaking of championships, right? All right, so you win a national championship. You go on to league. You have success. You team up with a guy in Tom Brady, arguably the best to play the position, who is also another champion. So what were some things, because I'd imagine you probably learned a lot, right? I mean, what were some things you learned from Tom Brady? And, were y'all kind of similar, as you came from a championship pedigree at Alabama, and, he's a Super Bowl winner. What was it like playing alongside a guy like Tom Brady?
Yeah, it was really, really awesome, man. And our first year was really hard to actually get to put the work in that we eventually saw that Tom liked to do, because of the restrictions with the COVID. So that first year was kind of hard for us to really put the work in like we wanted to, but we still made it happen, and we ended up putting together a Super Bowl season that year. But when you get around him, you kind of always wonder as a kid, like, what makes him so great? But it's the details that he put in the work every single day, like even in the film room, to even when the defense is taking their reps, we come over to the side. We're doing blitz pickups, hot adjust, sight adjusts, and it just never stops with him. And that's what it takes. A lot of stuff may not be physical work, but it's going to be mental work. And then when it's time to get our physical work in, we're going to do it during the practice. But you're always working on something to get the edge on the opponent, and that's what makes him so great. So when the game came, there wasn't a blitz we wasn't ready for. There wasn't a hot that we didn't see, and you almost can call it out before he does because you know what he's going to get to. And like it made the game so much slower. And like they say, you see a little, you see a lot, you see a lot, you see nothing at all. And that became so true when you got around him and saw the details that he put in to become successful.
Man. I remember hearing that a couple times in college. See a lot, see a little, see a little, see a lot. Definitely remember that one. We used to hear stuff like that all the time, whether it was Elko or Coach Cochran. We definitely had all those little nuggets in our ear. But this is funny that you carried that with you to the league. Now, let me ask you, you're talking about Super Bowls. You are a Super Bowl champion, something that very few people get to claim. That's like every young athlete's dream, right? But I got to ask, what would you say was the better experience? Because you also won a national championship. Would you say winning the national championship was better or the Super Bowl? And I know it's probably tough, and people might just assume the Super Bowl, but like you said, in college, man, all your boys, you're grinding together in the national championship, man. It's just special. Now, I haven't won a Super Bowl, and I know that's probably special, but in your opinion, since you won both, which one was better, or would you maybe just say they're the same?
No, I get asked that question a lot, man, and I'll always say the national championship. And it's true. Like that's always my answer. Bro, it's the brotherhood, man. Like, I can never repay, like, coming in with D. Henry, Eddie Jackson, John, all these guys that I came in with as little pups, man, and we went in our junior year. It's like wow. That's the only year we got a chance to win it before all the guys go pro, like the guys we left early, like Derek and those guys. So, like, we got a chance to win it right before they went pro. So it's like we did it. That's what every class want to do, and every class has accomplished that on the coach. You at least win a championship. So, to finally do it in our last chance and we got it, that's a moment that I could never overshadow because, like I said, every class has done it, and it was our class last chance to say let's leave our mark, and we got the job done. Of course, with some younger guys in the class that you guys got helped us also, but for our class to do it with the dogs that we had coming in the 13 class. I could never, ever, overshadow that. So the national championship is by far my favorite championship for sure.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I can see that too when you're talking about the camaraderie guys you come in with as little pups and you're growing and you're working out, getting stronger together and, growing facial hair and all that, starting to think about all that stuff. And, you become a man together, I'm saying? I get it. But that Super Bowl, man, is definitely a special one because, it does bring a lot of cheese to you. Even when you're done playing, it's going to bring you some cheese.
Like you heard the man. It ain't about money, man.
Listen, man.
You heard the man. He said the camaraderie. He's going back to the cookouts on the steps of Bryant.
OJ,
he's talking about running the
Oh, yeah.
See, I get what you say. I get where you're coming from, OJ. See, he didn't have the luxury of winning the championship in college.
Listen, he going to have appearance money, flashing that ring. Everybody want to ask him what was like playing, catching passes from Tom Brady, the greatest to ever play the position. He going to flash that ring, and boom, boom, boom. They're going to be signing checks or direct deposit or Venmo or whatever. He going to take it. Hey, I'll tell you that cash app, bring it on.
That's a good point.
Legend tight end of Alabama. I'm just messing with you, man. But I'm not really joking because I know dudes that have that ring. I played over a decade. I didn't even get close to one, so it's hard to really get. And the fact that you got one so early in your career is really special. OJ, I do want to ask you to focus on this Bama team right now. And we've been having a lot of conversation since you guys left. It seemed like the atmosphere's changed some. They won a championship with Mac Jones and that group. But, it just seemed like that mentality that I hear it in your voice that you and Christian talk about. It seems like to me that's missing. Why would you think that maybe have dropped off some? They're still a great football team, but what you say and then other players that we've had on here, Anthony and Rashawn, you can just feel it. But these new guys, I don't necessarily feel that from them.
Yeah, man. We always talk about it too off the record. Me and a lot of guys that I played with Bo or whoever, we talk about that. He said he visited with the guys last year. Bo Scarborough did, And he gave him a little word of encouragement about that. Like, you know, you got to have the passion. You got to have the drive to want to, man, that eagerness to, like, play for the brother beside you. Like, man, it was days, like, in the summer when we ran 110s, and I look over at son Dion, because I ran with the mid skills, and be like, I got to go hard for him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he don't even play offense with me, but I just can't allow, you know, this guy down because, you know, that I got to be a leader for my teammate and be there for him. You know, I'm not around the guys, but a lot of that, you know, I don't really feel that vibe, man, anymore. Like with the newer, you know, era, it just like even Bo, he said something like he went as far as saying like, why y'all wearing green mouthpieces? Why y'all wearing pink mouthpieces? Like we couldn't even do that. Like it was just some stuff we couldn't do, bro. Like the leaders wouldn't allow you to just be different, bro. Like everybody got to have on the same socks, bro. Like we wearing the same mouthpiece. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just little stuff like that we held each other accountable with. But like you may think a guy just picking on you, but at the end of the day, it's like that's what it takes to say, man, we in this together. Like that way, when we lose, we all gonna take the L together. But when we win, we all gonna hold that trophy together at the end of the year, and then it's gonna be worth it for the rest of our lives. But everybody held accountable. You know how I go, man. If you lacking on the 110s, man, Ryan Anderson may come over there and try to fight you. Like, bro, let's go, bro. Like you had them dogs, A-Sean, John Allen, them boys, man. Like, man, them boys didn't let you slack off, man. Like. And, you know, but that's what it takes, bro. You need them type of dogs around you to make you push yourself to the extreme. Because at the end of the day, when Saturdays come, you know it's gonna pay off.
Facts, and what you're summing up is accountability, and I try to explain that. You know, me in broadcasting, I work with the team, do the sideline reporting, and anytime people ask about the teams that we had and just what it was like, I sum it up the same way you do, and it's basically just, you know, player accountability. And you said it best. It didn't matter who you were. I mean, you could be Reuben Foster, but if you didn't run off the field, all the way off the field, A-Sean or John, somebody's going to get on you because that was the standard we set. You know, that was normal. It didn't matter who it was. And I just love hearing you say that because I try to say it, but I love when I have, you know, my teammates come on and say it so people can really get that picture because that's what it was. Just that camaraderie, that togetherness, and accountability. It just was unparalleled, man. I feel like it's just a lot different. I don't know if it's NIL transfer or whatever. Things just seem a little bit different. I think kids nowadays are just a little bit different in general. Because like you said, man, like we all were working towards that one goal, and that was winning. That's all we cared about. It didn't matter what it took. But I want to ask you. You talked about 110s and that, you know, whole thing that we used to do. But the man in charge, Coach Cochran, right? You like me. You were close with him. We both spent a lot of time in the weight room doing extra, you know, after practice, getting bigger, you know, trying to put weight on and whatnot. You know, how influential was he to you? Now, I know what he was to me and the rest of the guys on the team, but how influential was a guy like Coach Cochran to you? I know what he was to me and the rest of the guys on the team, but how influential was a guy like Coach Cochran to you specifically? Because I know you had a good relationship with him like I did, and I think it's just interesting to paint that picture for folks so they kind of hear, you know, how important he was to the program when we were there.
Man, very important. Like, besides like the academic advisors, I think you spend more time in his office than anybody else on the whole campus. Like he was always a listening ear you used to go to, like outside of football or with ball. Like you're not agreeing with what may be happening with you on the field, but you need to talk to him. Like, what can I improve on? Like, what do I got to do? And you know, and then in the weight room, you're gonna get it in with him, of course. But I think from so many different aspects that you can relate, Cock can relate to you, and that's why you always like kept that relationship with him as a player. Like I know I did because he always can keep it real with you. He ain't gonna sugarcoat it. He gonna tell you like, hey, you got to pick it up. You got to do this. He gonna bring it out of you, and he gonna keep it real. And I was fortunate enough, even though it was a bittersweet day, I was training in the off season that day when it was his last day at Bama, and I was in the NFL and I was working out in the weight room and I was lifting weights with him like all week, all summer. And then he texted me. He like, man, I'm out of there today, bro. This is my last day. And I'm like, what? I'm like, we training. Like, what are you talking about? And then he was like, man, just hit my line, man. I think I'm out of here. I went to go talk to him, and then I found out he was, you know, leaving. And that was like a shocker to me, and I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I understand. You know, everything happened for each person, you know, on their own reason. But that's just show you how he is. He went out of his way. Even as I was a former player, he still drew up me a schedule in the off season, a workout plan that I could attack every day to get better. and I wasn't even a player anymore at the university. But that's just the relationship that you can build with him, and you will have it forever. And I'm sure he'll still do it to this day if I reached out to him. So Cock was a lot to me, man, and definitely a big influence on my whole career.
I think that was one of the major losses when you're talking about mindset and attitude. When he left, I think a lot of that passion and standard left. One quick question before we let you go, OJ. Really appreciate you joining us here. The tight end room is something that's getting talked about around this Bama football team. A lot of folks say maybe the best tight end room they've had in a long time. Have you paid attention to some of these new guys they got on the block?
No, I haven't. I really haven't. You know, I just saw a buzz about. I think a young guy they got coming in that should be pretty good, because you know the OC came from Notre Dame, and Notre Dame just had a tight end go second round to the Raiders. I just played with Michael Mayer, and they were comparing that he could probably do the same things in his offense as he did in Notre Dame. So I kind of been seeing it from that standpoint, but I really haven't saw some of the guys. But I definitely would keep an eye now that you gave me the heads up. But for that position, I think that is a position that, man, if we can get it to play at a high level and be consistent, man, that'll change the whole dynamic of the offense. And you know what I mean? Especially with a quarterback, no matter who is going to be this year, Jalen Milroe or Tyler Buckner, whoever it may be, a tight end is a quarterback's best friend, especially when they're young, kind of unexperienced, don't really, have a lot of, game time. You can always go to that big security blanket. So I'm interested to see how it go, man, and glad that you said we have some guys that can really make some plays for us, athletic. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on this year. Yeah.
We got four dudes, man. Four dudes that can get it done.
Yeah, there's a guy, Amari Nyblack. He's, athletic tight end, kind of like yourself. Keep an eye out for him. Then they got a transfer, CJ Dupree, more of a Y-style tight end, but he definitely can catch football. But they definitely got some good options in that room, so keep an eye out for them. But OJ, man, nothing but thanks for you joining the show, man. I appreciate you taking the time to hop on here. Means a lot, and I'm glad we could catch up. And I'm glad everything's going well for you. And best of luck with everything once you get picked back up in a healthy season. So I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Man, thank you guys so much, man. Appreciate y'all as always. Thank you.
Yeah,
yes,
Panthers need a tight end, by the way. Panthers need a tight end. Just tell your agent, the Panthers need a tight end.
Head to Carolina. Bryce can use some options for sure.
Just throw that out there, bro.
I got you. Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir.
OJ Howard, former Alabama legend at tight end, Super Bowl champion and national champion.